we're going to talk about love and how to keep love alive. It's easy to fall in love. Like if you watch The Bachelor, they're falling in love by episode 2. So that's not the issue. Falling in love is easy. It's being able to cultivate that love and make it last for a lifetime.
Yeah, that is so true. And the big idea that we're grabbing a hold of is the idea of emotional needs and the connection between when we understand what these emotional needs are and we do things to meet those needs, that it creates feelings of love in our spouse. And so in the show notes, you'll find a link for a self-assessment where you can go through and figure out what your top emotional needs are and also what your spouse's top emotional needs are. And that can be really helpful and practical and facilitate just a great conversation. But what we're talking about with things like emotional needs is we're talking about things like financial security, domestic support, sexual fulfillment, quality time, physical touch, things like that.
Yeah, and we have a need for all of these to be met. I mean, we all want those, but some of those needs are going to rise to the top. So you're going to have like a top 3. That's what we say. Get 3 because it makes it easier for your spouse to remember, and find out what those are and find out what your spouse's needs are. And after you find out what they are, figure out how to meet those needs, because it's not just enough to know what they are. We need to know how to specifically meet those needs.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. You know, it's kind of like, let's say that I just learned what my wife's most important emotional need was, and it's physical touch. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to get this right. Physical touch, physical touch. I need to give her physical touch. So we go to the grocery store, and as we're walking down the aisle, I'm trying to put my arm around her and give her hugs. I'm giving her physical touch. And she's like, will you get off of me? Well, oh my goodness, I am completely confused because you just told me you had this need for physical touch, and here I am trying to meet it, and now you don't want it. I mean, what do I do with that?
Yeah, so the need might be that I want that physical touch, but I want it at home, not in public. So that's why it's so important to know how to meet those needs.
Yeah, no, that's such a, I think, an important point to make, and it can really trip couples up quite often. You know, the other thing that comes to mind with our needs is that there's no guilt or shame in having those needs.
Right. Yeah, I hear that. Like, especially moms say that if they have a need for freedom and autonomy and they need some alone time, they feel guilty for that. Like they should be with their kids 24/7. And that's a real legitimate need. They do need that time away. So God made us with those needs, and there's nothing to feel guilty about.
Yeah, and if you think about just within our culture and the way that we think about this, I mean, one of the things you'll hear people say is, oh, she's so needy, you know, and that's a very negative kind of phrase. And then certainly guys, for example, are socialized in such a way that we're supposed to be independent. We're supposed to be this stoic guy who doesn't need anything or anybody. And so really just getting comfortable with the very idea that I have these needs, that these needs are real, these needs are legitimate, it can take a little bit of getting used to.
Yeah. So for example, I'll just talk about our needs. So one of my needs is freedom and autonomy. And I'm an introvert, so I need that alone time. And I am such a better mom and a better wife, better at everything when I can get that alone time. And also domestic support. Like I need his help doing chores. That speaks a lot of love to me.
Yeah. And again, God created us to have these needs. And I think that's so important. Sometimes people will get in this mindset of it's just me and God. You know, me and Jesus, we got it covered. But they forget that really that's not biblical. You see, God created Adam, and before sin entered the world, well, he said it's not good for man to be alone. And he created Eve, and part of that relationship, that marriage relationship, was all about learning to meet each other's needs. And when we do that and really become students of our spouse, we're going to have a happy and healthy marriage.